teams played, it was a fairly competitive opening game. It went long, it went late. It's Graves, Ezreal, and Morgana off the table.
Yeah, Ezreal being taken away from Prey, who was insane in the late game against Team Liquid last time with this pick. And it was a fairly competitive game. Despite the lackluster tournament that Liquid has had, their opener was competitive through 30 minutes against Kingzone, and then Prey completely took over on that Ezreal.
Personally, I felt like that after that one big mistake in the bottom side of the map from Kingzone, they just immediately took control and they never really let go. And for me, I'm looking more to see a bit more of a patient Team Liquid coming into today's games. I feel like Ole is playing a little bit more back on form. I'm fascinated by the fact that Kingzone have decided to ban away Yasuo. It looks like they still show respect towards Pobelta, even though he wasn't able to have that same kind of impact that he had when he tried to bring it out.
Yeah, definitely the case. And I mean, it is one bad game, right? It is very easy to jump to the conclusion, well, Pobelta can't play Yasuo. We don't know what has gone on in practice, and they're willing to give it that respect. I will say I'm surprised that Kingzone is not targeting more heavily on the bottom lane. And a Kindred pick here from Peanut.
I've heard so many times it's good into Trundle.
We saw it in the play-in knockouts, I believe, from Supermassive. They ended up bringing it twice up against the Trundle.
The Dance of Arrows actually allows you to or Hail of Arrows, whatever it is, you can jump over the Trundle pillar and actually kite him out fairly effectively. Can be pretty powerful, you know, as far as that goes, but if the Trundle ever gets ahead, it can be very easy to get run down. And honestly, Kindred is one of those picks that in general, I just feel is terrible from behind, because if you are behind on the pick, it becomes so difficult to really ever use your ultimate in a winning fight, right? You know, they have more gold than you, you ult, well, you just die after that.
And I'm so glad the jungle matchup has already been locked in. Xmithy earlier today on that Skarner with the game-saving play. He's on that Trundle, and he's going to go up against Peanut's Kindred.
That becomes so much harder when Kindred's there to keep the Baron alive. He's going to jump in, try to steal it. No, Kindred ult comes down, denies
That's the Smithy special. He brought
exactly.
it out in MSI.
You kind of just take it away from him.
He's trying to do the Smithy to Smithy.
Trying to out Xmithy the Smithy. We talked a little bit about the Camille potential for Khan up in the top lane. Right now, there is the hover, and while there's always a danger of talking about hovers, I feel like Kingzone can feel pretty confident locking it in.
Yeah, the blind Camille pick. That's one of the things that honestly you can do against Liquid, because you're not expecting Impact to want to play any carries. So if you have a pick that is you're comfortable playing into tanks, well, guess what? You can blind pick it. You don't actually need to save that, which can give you some advantages in the draft. That being said, you know, there certainly are a lot of picks that you can be pretty comfortable on here. I'm interested to see if Kingzone is actually going to ban out the Orin. They've already taken away Sion, now Shen here too. And interestingly, Team Liquid went for a very early Kog'Maw, given that Kai'Sa has been left available. With no AD carry lock-in currently coming in from the side of Kingzone, Liquid are trying to force Prey onto a champion that we know he is very comfortable on, and they feel like they can get themselves a winning matchup in. Yeah, we heard Doublelift talking about how he thinks the Kog'Maw is so favored against the Kai'Sa, but we have seen how support matchups can shift that. This time, though, it is another melee support that would have to be paired with that Kai'Sa, because Tahm Kench has already been locked in, and you know, we'll have to see where Team Liquid goes and picks and bans. Are they worried then about something like a Caitlyn, which could be pretty powerful, or even, you know, that Kai'Sa is still available, but it's hard to know.
We're about to find out, Azael. It's the last ban for Team Liquid before we jump into the second phase of picks. We've not talked a whole lot about the mid laners and maybe some of the champions we can expect there. We're about to get some insight into what direction these teams are going to go.
Ryze versus Azir. That would just be a blind throw in the dark. I mean, Karma is still up and available, and Kingzone could look to draft that if they want. One of the big concerns for me is Kingzone right now have no front line, so Galio could be a nice fit into this composition to create the Camille-Galio combo, and then if you get into a sticky situation, you also have a Kindred ulti on top of that to turn things in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, the Kindred plus Galio combo is actually incredibly strong there too, because that is one of the things that can almost guarantee you win the fight coming out of that Kindred ultimate. You time your ultimate to actually stun people as the Kindred ultimate expires into a taunt, into a cleanup, and this is a lot of engage here. You know, bringing in this Kalista in the Tahm Kench, you know, you can throw the Tahm Kench in, you can use that to disengage as well. It's a very safe 2v2, and Pobelter's just going to go back to the Ryze, but he has not really been having a lot of success with it.
Prey on the Kalista is going to be so awesome to see. This guy has been praised so much during the LCK regular season. We've seen his mechanics on stage here at MSI, and you're giving him a mechanically intensive champion that needs to get ahead in the early game, and it's going to be Kalista.
5-0 in 2018 on Kalista with a 47 KDA.
all right.
47?
Pretty good on that champion. To round out the team compositions, the Ryze, the Ornn, and the Talia.
Yeah, the Ornn very expected, I would say. Talia, also kind of similar idea to what you were talking about with the Galio-Camille combo. It's about just getting out to the side lanes, giving an advantage to your split pusher. But I think so much of this game is going to be about jungle tracking. Smithy has been solid throughout the tournament, but he's going to need to keep Peanut down. You can't allow Kindred to be able to pick up all these early bounties. If Kindred gets to a quick 4 bounties, the range bonus that you get there, as well as all the added damage on your Q, etc., can make you such a powerful champion in team fights. But if you're held down, often you're too close to the action, you're knocked up, you're CC'd, and you become worthless.
And I feel like that's going to be Kingzone's game plan, because during the regular season of the LCK, they were the most dominant early game team. They were the ones that found those early advantages largely off the back of a pushing mid laner and BDD working with Peanut to invade the enemy jungle. And once they found those early advantages, they so effectively snowballed the game. Their composition is so reliant on having advantage in the top side of the map, advantage down the bottom side of the map, that if they fail to find these early leads, it will be Kingzone that fall behind, and Team Liquid have the mid to late game to turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, they have an incredible early game in the LCK. They have not really shown it here at MSI for the most part, though, and the pressure is on. You fall behind, as you said. It's going to be so tough with no real front line against this composition that TL is bringing out that has incredible engage and very heavy scaling with the Kog'Maw. A lot of pressure.
There is a lot of pressure, and to put some numbers to that early game discussion, at 15 minutes, Kingzone have an average gold lead of 565. That is about as even as you can get. Now, of course, that is an aggregate over their last 5 games. Let's see what they can do today. Kingzone versus Team Liquid to close out day 3 of the group stage. And all eyes, for me, is going to be on Peanut and what he's going to do on this Kindred.
Good choice there, Quick Shot, because he's immediately who I wanted to look at first. But we have to transition over to the bottom lane. Look at Khan.
Double lift the invade.
Dum 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 dum. Flash, tongue lash. Whoa, there we go. Khan comes over the wall.
Whoa.
To jump onto double lift. Both summoners blown.
Very quick flash there from double lift. If you get hit by the Q from Tom Kench, you are dead, period. The slow is going to be enough for them to actually chase you down. But that's both summoners blown, and that already, means that he is going to have to play so safe in this bottom lane now.
And look at all this early vision that Kingzone are getting in Team Liquid's half of the jungle. Kindred, she wants to be in your face. She is such a good duelist once she's gotten points in Q, points in the W. The E always confuses me a little bit because it is your initial slow, but also kind of an execute. So you kind of want to use it very early on into the fight as well as at the end. But the full combo means that you have a lot of dueling power along with a lot of mobility.
And I also think this puts even more emphasis on the jungle matchup. There's now 2 lanes that Smithy could go that are down a flash, which could be ganked. And for Peanut, getting a big ticket kill like one on a double lift, putting him behind, could be a path to victory. So we'll see where they're going to go, because Khan is going to have to play this pretty defensively. I mean, if you get pillared in without your flash as that Camille, you can simply get run down. So a lot has changed off of that level 1.
And I've been keeping track of who Peanut has decided to mark, because for those that may not have seen Kindred for a while, she generates stacks on her passive by stealing away camps. Early on, it will be the Scuttle Crab, but she can also get those marks on her passive from the enemy champions. And her target is Smithy. He is the guy that Peanut has his eyes on to secure that early kill and start stacking those marks off.
And this is super standard for Kindred players, because generally speaking, as soon as you enter the game, you mark the other jungler immediately, and then your cooldown is back up before the lane is really going, so you always have the opportunity. You hate to see that. The full reset.
Jungle over. That's it.
Avert your eyes. Get out of there, observers.
Even LCK champion junglers can reset camps. BDD is going to get room prisoned in place. The cleanse comes out already. BDD will be happy with the trade. Pobelt has flash for just the cleanse.
Very clean there from BDD. Now Peanut has found Smithy. The fact that Pobelt forced a flash away, really good outplay there from BDD on one of his big comfort champions in the form of the Talia.
And Smithy tried to force that without his red buff. They saw that he had no red buff, and now he has no.
Well, let's see what else can happen. The Chomp comes out. Devour from Gorilla will save Peanut's life for now. Summoner spells being blown across the board.
but they can stay around. They want to try to pressure this. They already have bot lane shoved in, and they're going to try to deny the red buff. If you show mid lane without that red buff, they will get in your face. Gorilla is around here. Peanut is sticking around, but you can see Olay is trying to help Smithy heal back up a little bit in the jungle, and for now, it looks like Peanut will just back off as the bottom lane will stop pushing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Peanut that he started his clear on the top side red, but the mark is unfortunately on the inverse side of the map, so he won't be able to secure that very early on, but it will give them so much pressure around the bot side of the map as Gorilla looking to try and find an early play.
Yes, indeed. The PS and the tongue lashing means Olay goes low. Here comes the dance of arrows from Peanut. Not going to be in range. Olay holds his nerve and doesn't waste the flash.
Yeah, that was actually really scary. One more stack on Olay and he could have gone down, and there was no heal available for double lift. So Smithy's still staying away from the red buff. He knows that Peanut could be in the area, and he doesn't have to fight Peanut for this. It's okay to actually just allow this to be delayed, because we talked about the early game advantages that need to be gotten by Kingzone. Smithy sees him. He's just going to sit here and wait and try to kind of waste his opponent's time. He's hoping his smite could come back up.
They are aware, though, of where each other is. BDD can now roam down to help his jungler out. Peanut successfully steals away the red buff, but still only level 3. Smithy been picking up a lot of farm while all this action has been going on.
Exactly. Smithy is playing this extremely calmly. He goes, he does the wolves, he goes, he does some of the Krugs. He's just taking all the safe camps and not risking anything because they don't need that risk.
Oh, so much damage onto Pobelter. Managing to connect with everything.
I thought you might just hard commit there and go for the kill. Clearly showing respect towards Pobelter, even though he had no mana. Forcing him back is enough. And remember that Pobelter started with the Ignite, used it, and even if he swaps, that teleport will not be available to get back in the lane. So BDD demonstrating his prowess on his well-known Talia.
You're not going to be able to pick up his first mark, and remember, 4 really is the key one, because every 4, that is when you get the range bonus. The first 4 gives you 75 additional attack range. Thereafter, the next 4 will give you 25, which is always still nice, but it is that first 4 that you really do need. And so we're going to have to kind of track how fast he can get to them. And, you know, so far, a pretty calm early game. You know, there's some looking at aggression, but TL is able to kind of ward it off.
And for me, one of the big things that we're seeing, kind of a throwback to the regular season Kingzone, is that BDD has constant priority over the middle lane. Talia, known as a champion for that, but also the way in which he's playing this matchup, just enables Peanut to play the style that he is so famous for within his region. One of the big success stories that teams have found against this team is denying Peanut the ability to play the way he wants. Fnatic found success with it, Flash Wolves have found success with it, but right now, Team Liquid are giving Kingzone a way in which they love to play, and they're the ones stealing all these early camps.
They see the Gorilla is actually in the mid lane, so this could potentially be a 3-man play on to Prey here. Smithy is on the side.
I think Smithy snuck his way in past that Sentinel. Didn't quite see, as you can see, the Mark of the Kindred just hovering above his head while that's being set up. Impact roamed from the top lane, and as Smithy has left, here comes Peanut, here comes Gorilla. Olay, stand behind me. There's the flash. Continues to run as the Unbreakable holds true for a moment or two longer. Double lift and Olay survive.
Really unlucky timing there for Olay. Just about to ward, gain vision to see if a Peanut could head towards the bot side, and they blast cone over the wall and force his flash along with double lift heal. This is definitely not the kind of early game that you want if you're Team Liquid, but not dying is much better than that.
Exactly. I mean, you can afford to give up some summoners, you can afford to give out a little bit of farm. It's mostly about not giving them the big advantages. And you know, it was a bit of the anti-timing there as they're going to look for Pobelter. I mean, when Smithy walks into that brush and is camping there, you think, okay, it's relatively safe. And as he leaves, Olay tries to go over and ward, and there are 2 people in that brush, right? So definitely a bit rough there on the timing, but TL is playing pretty patiently, and Kingzone want to continue pushing the pace.
I think they're absorbing the pressure fairly well. If you look down the lanes, it's a little CS differences for Pobelter and Double Lift, and I want to look towards Double Lift very quickly, because in his matchup earlier today, he definitely played a good matchup. It was the Caitlyn Morgana into RNG, and they ended up doing very well. He's got the Cogmore now, and you can see all of his stats are positive there.
And one of the big criticisms we had from Team Liquid was not that Double Lift was underperforming, but that the team as a whole were not showing the strengths that they did during the regular season. And Double Lift, he's often held his own, but earlier today we saw what can happen if you enable the AD carry for Team Liquid.
And this is a tough position for them. You know, in this 2v2, you can see the waves are kind of going bad, but
Oh, Ornhorn is interrupted. By, of course, that ultimate from Khan. No Summoner's Blow.
Yeah, so well timed there from Khan. Really, really well done to actually avoid that ultimate coming through from Impact with his ultimatum, and we've seen him do that multiple times. If he gets hit there, he could very easily be going down.
Yeah, and so much attention has been spent on the bottom half of the map from Kingzone that Xmithie, now level 6, even though he's down in terms of farm, and he's able to freely steal away the red buff. But with those members topside, PDD looking for a roam bot.
And they know there's no TP available for Impact because he actually used his Summoner Spellbook, so this could be bad for Liquid.
Weaver's Wall hasn't been used yet. Ole doing his best to block the damage. He's the first to go down. Kingzone get first blood. Turn to double if the Rend may just be the final kill. No, it's a threaded volley. A beautiful dive.
That is how you execute a dive this early on into the game. They were very aware that Pobelter was not in the middle lane. They had full vision control over the bottom side of the map, enabling them to get a very easy roam down and secure themselves a very clean double kill.
I mean, it was perfectly done. Gorilla takes the aggro, waits till the Grayskin is completely gone, pops a Z, then he gets ulted to drop turret aggro from Prey. That was basically flawless. This is about as well as you can execute this. So here they are, corralling them. Gorilla will start taking the aggro. He goes straight in. This is honestly pretty well played by Doublelift and Ole, but look at Gorilla, tanks as many tower shots as possible, then is immuning a tower shot through that ultimate from Prey. There's just nothing that PL can do. It's too well executed.
You just have to hope the Kingzone mess up the dive and you can punish it, but the fact that Ole wasn't level 6, the fact that Doublelift didn't have his heal, like, there are very few options that you have, and Kingzone, really good job to punish it, but this is the early game lead we said they needed to find. So important for the Kalista to get ahead in the 2 versus 2, and finding those kills, even though they went on to BDD, will be a big advantage gain for Kingzone on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, around 1,200 gold up as we hit the 10-minute mark. Doublelift Cogmore starting to get bullied around because he's 700 gold up for BDD, 400 or so for Praise. Not huge amounts for now, but that can continue to scale when you start looking at this composition and how many tools Kingzone have to be proactive.
And when you realize how good they are to snowballing advantages, that is really one of their signatures as a top-level team, is they take this tiny advantage and they expand it, and they make it seem like this massive one.
You see Khan's stats on Camille in LCK, 6-0. Exceptional performance. He's even on CS for now, a little bit behind, but not a huge amount to speak of. And Impact is willing to throw down. I mean, he looked for the 1v1 earlier, and Khan was able to survive it.
I mean, Impact is playing the lane well, and honestly, while Khan is an exceptional player, he has not played 2 level in this tournament. He has certainly had, I think, some fairly poor games. When you look at it, his Vladimir game in a loss was definitely a bit of a
worrying sign,
I think, for him. And when you look at Worlds, again, it was something where he wasn't able to really show up and have his best performance. So he certainly wants to rectify that and be playing at his best.
Well, I think that's true. Camille is a champion that I think, even after his underperformance, is a very scary champion to still keep this guy. And now Kingzone, they've invested resources into the bot side of the map. There is a mark in the top river, and they're saying, you know what, Khan, let's get you a bit of gold. The Talia ulti is available. Peanut is hanging around. They look to go for a dive.
Certainly possible, but TL's actually made a lane swap top. They're going to try to probably look for a play, but it's spotted out by this ward. So they're saying, you know what, get us out of the 2v2, go try to make the initial swap. At worst, they're trying to look for a turret trade, but they would love to get a kill on Khan, and they would love to get this first turret.
Keep your eyes on BDD. He's coming in from behind the Rift Herald. He does have his ulti, and Peanut is making his way down the lane as well, while the bot of Kingzone are just pushing onto the tower.
Team Liquid have been able to pick up Tower First Blood in 3 of their games so far. They've got a 4-man stack up top, make that 5-man as Pobelter's coming by. Fall of the Forge God comes out, it will catch onto Khan. A very good seismic shove will push Ole away. Now Impact is forced to flash defensively. Team Liquid left Doublelift to try and finish off that tower. It's a 4-on-3 for now, but Gorilla's pushing up. Tower First Blood went to Kingzone down in the bottom lane. Team Liquid equalize up top.
And Kalista is still pushing onto this tower. Kingzone have such a huge momentum advantage, given the fact that Team Liquid, they tried to go for a dive. They're not able to find a kill onto Khan, and now they still have 2 members topside. Can Kingzone find a successful collapse?
And when you make a play like this, you really do give up a lot of farm, because you're actually not...
Tom Kench.
Here they come, here they come. Gorilla's going to deliver Peanut to double lift, and Ole. Flashes are up for the Team Liquid bottom lane, but here comes Khan. Hextech ultimatum is issued, and double lift is already killed. That's the third of the game, and Ole's running for his life.
I feel like this was a huge misplay from Team Liquid. They had to recognize that there is a double global on the side of Kingzone, and the fact that you're staying in lane that far up makes it very easy for Kingzone to find 2 easy kills.
As it stands, Kingzone are just accelerating ahead. 13 minutes into the game, the gold lead goes up. I'd like to inform you that if you are a Flash Wolves fan, you want Kingzone to win this game. If Kingzone do, then that means Flash Wolves will clinch. Stats team has informed me. So that's a boon for Flash Wolves, making sure they make it to top 4 and there is a battle for seeding. But for Team Liquid, it's not done yet. It is a difficult situation, but they've got a great team fight. We saw what EVOS can do with the Rise combo, and that's what we need to see Team Liquid do as well.
They really do, but it's tough when you fall behind like this against Kingzone because, you know, we've seen as Khan playing and as Lowy, they often just won't give you the team fight, right? They're going to try to play side lane, they're going to split push, they're going to use the Tahm Kench and the Talia to collapse and find those odd man fights. And Liquid need to kind of stem that bleeding. They need to be able to farm it up and try to then find equal engages.
Well, let's find out. That's an interrupt onto Impact. He's actually going to back away. No kill secured. By the way, Peanut was able to pick up his 3rd stack of that passive. We're getting a little bit closer, as he's also gone for the Blood Razor and continue to scale up.
You can also see Rage Blade being picked up for the Kalista. Much more common these days, especially once you get the 4 stacks, you can utilize the double rend. But here we see the Tahm Kench. The thing is, this is what surprises me from Team Liquid, because after the bot lane tower was taken, you would assume that Gorilla would look to try and make his way topside, and instead they just choose to go back into the lane rather than go back to base. And
it feels like one of those false sense of security type things, like, oh, we have great vision up here. Yeah, sure you do, but Tahm Kench can just ult right in.
Oh, we can indeed. Sorry, I got a little bit nervous there, Azale. Team Liquid went fishing, but didn't find anything.
Now, Team Liquid do have priority around the Mountain Drake, but they don't want to commit to it because they recognize how strong Kingzone are at this point in the game. Kalista with the Rage Blade already finished up is more than happy to go for a fight right now. Khan is sitting up in the top side with a teleport advantage as well, so it could be Kingzone to be the ones to be proactive around this Drake first.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Team Liquid just wants to farm. I don't think they can really afford to take too many of these fights unless it is an incredible engage from Impact. You're going to see Team Liquid try to give up the minimum for probably quite some time, and 2, you start seeing double lift. We're catching up in this farm, trying to scale up.
And Kingzone will be happy to continue accelerating. Mountain Drake will definitely speed up any of the objectives they want to play around. When you have a Kindred, Kalista, Camille, your Baron is already incredibly great. You add the Mountain Drake on top of it. So Kingzone are going to have tools to twist and force Team Liquid's hands.
Yeah, and I mean, you think of the engage options that Kingzone have, it mainly comes down to a lot of flanking. You have the Tahm Kench ultimate, you have the fact that Prey can throw Tahm Kench into a fight. That's not necessarily the greatest engage, but as you mentioned, Azzo, you never really want the 5v5 if you're Kingzone. You just kind of want to find these odd targets out of position, play along all 3 lanes, and just force Team Liquid to split as much as possible, especially at this part of the game.
And Smithy having been spotted on this feels pretty risky to continue. You may end up just leashing it essentially for your opponent, so sees their round, will have to back off as the collapse was coming in. I think that's the right move.
It's good to see Kingzone playing a little bit more to their LCK roots in terms of getting ahead, using their advantages, being really sort of forward-facing, if I can say, because we didn't quite see the Kingzone we were anticipating in the opening half of the group stage.
Well, they got given Ezreal twice, and then they stomped with Ezreal twice. And what we came to learn was, don't give Prey Ezreal. And you're definitely right, it's kind of a deviation from what we saw. Even though Ezreal was his most played during the regular season, the reality is the Kingzone have this tendency to be much more around their mid-jungle duo, enabling Peanut to invade onto the enemy side with the pressure that BDD creates with champions like the Talia, champions like the Karma. And this is much more of the LCK style that won them the championship.
Let's see where they go next. Kingzone grouping up. Mountain Drake will be spawning very, very shortly. A few minutes, in fact, actually. Second one. And that is a mark that Peanut can pick up. I believe that's number 4. So big range increase just as we start entering into the mid-game stages, and for Team Liquid,
They're looking for a collapse. They may actually try to force a fight here with Khan still on the top side, but yeah, Impact spotted out, so nothing really happening, and this is what Kingzone wants to do. You buy time for Khan, anytime Impact collapses, you back off, and you just try to play this push and pull. You can see BDD going down to the bottom lane. They do not want TL group. They want TL spread, and then you find the picks.
all right, how did TL then play the next few minutes? We know that Kingzone can play around the Dragon and the Baron. They can start setting up that, obviously, the split push. Team Liquid, I want to interrupt it with an engage, but those obvious ones are not going to work.
Yeah, so Team Liquid, if they engage right now, given the gold lead that Kingzone have and the number of globals that they have, it would be very difficult to guarantee yourself a winning team fight and then convert it into something. Maybe Team Liquid would find themselves a kill, but then Khan would find himself a tower, or you'd find BDD roaming to bot and securing a tier 2. So there's always the risk that you have to be careful of in this kind of split push scenario. So for now, they're just stalling. They're just buying enough time so they can scale up a little bit more, complete those second items, and then once they're ready to fight, then maybe they can gain a little bit more off a winning team fight.
I do like moving Doublelift to the mid lane, though, because they were just too much stronger in the 2v2 Kingzone was. So Doublelift was having to sacrifice a lot of farm, not able to step forward and actually maximize all that CS that he wants. So putting him in the mid lane does give him more safety to be able to do this. Yes, you have to have Pobelter in a side lane, and he has been getting caught out, picked off a fair bit, but this is just the best lane assignments. If you want to beat Kingzone, you have to play the game properly. You have to play at your best, and that's what they're going to be counting on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 30 CS difference between Doublelift and Prey. For now, Kingzone continue to just play the patient game. Farm themselves up. They're going into this mid game. Despite not having a traditional front line, they got more than enough damage, oodles of damage, if you will, to win a fight before Team Liquid get enough time to get it down.
We'll give credit to Team Liquid. If we have an ability to quickly toggle the vision observers, just look at how much Team Liquid can see on their half of the map. You can see that a lot of the entrances they have covered because they know that Kingzone are going to be roaming between these lanes a lot, and it makes it a lot harder for Kingzone to invest in deep vision as well. So Team Liquid doing what we were talking about, just playing that defensive style and just buying time for as long as they can.
And it's always kind of funny to me when I see these sorts of compositions from a team like Kingzone or RNG, who kind of played a similar one earlier against Fnatic, and you see it from one of those teams and you're like, yeah, that'll work, that could be, you know, and you see it from a North American team or European team, it almost never works out. The execution that you have to have in a team fight is so incredibly difficult, and that is why a lot of teams prioritize playing tanks. But if you can kite out perfectly, if you can execute perfectly, if you can avoid those team fights, split push, control the map, then the rewards are great.
Yeah, they really are. And that was what we were anticipating from Kingzone. You know, when we started the group stage, all of the expectations around this team rocking up, and they've got some big questions to answer. But at 20 minutes in, with a very, very sizable gold lead, and the fact that their composition is working as intended, 2 item spikes pretty much on the horizon. Trinity Force almost there for Khan. I think he actually just bought it while we're on the gold screen. And that means Mountain Drake's the next objective, and Team Liquid, they're running out of Rift to defend.
Yeah, but as long as they can defend their turrets, keep your inners alive especially, you can continue to try to slow down the game. But for Kingzone, right when you complete 2 items, I think is one of your strongest possible points.
Oh, yeah.
That you're getting the most out of your gold lead, and you can see Prey just got his Hurricane, the Morellos is completed for BDD. You know, those 2 items coming in means that they are maximizing their effective gold. And if they were to look for a fight right now, Team Liquid, very unlikely to be able to win it.
Team fight potentially on the horizon. But Drake got started just by that dance of arrows. Teleport is available for Khan.
Yeah, and Team Liquid essentially now have to force. They need to force on this dragon, start it up, do something, because otherwise you're giving up the turret top lane for free.
Yep.
Impact has roamed down, and it's up to them to make something happen.
Prey has got the Runon's Hurricane to complement the Rage Blade. A seismic shove sends Impact backwards, and a Bellow's Breath is now on cooldown. Right, the mountain has been started.
Yeah, look at how Kingzone played this as the fight is about to kick off.
Corralled.
Weaver's wall locks Ole in, actually gets interrupted. Dragon is now starting to reset. Ball of the Forge God comes up. That's a slow into a 2.5-man knockup. Khan is already dead. Pobelter gets the kill. Impact is sent to safety, in fact. Now in a 5-on-4. The Mountain Drake is the target, but this Ren stacks for days. Picked up by Kingzone. And a kill for Team Liquid.
Credit to Team Liquid, they played that fight exceptionally well. A good engage from Impact with a follow-up pillar from McSmithy allows them to shut Khan down. But I feel he didn't even need to be in that fight. I thought Kingzone were going to keep playing on the side lane, keep the pressure, but now they have mid-priority and they're looking for a pick.
Oh, the shove hurt so badly. Realm Warp delivered into the mid lane. Whoa, that's a kill! Not the one I thought, though. It's Oli that goes down. Gorilla is chunked out as Prey flashes to safety. Paybelter was looking for him, but Lab's respite keeps PDD and Peanut alive, and Prey escapes with a sliver.
Yeah, Prey barely surviving there. The last auto in the air from Double Lift as Gorilla scoops him up and brings him to safety. And, while TL get a couple of kills, they lost the Dragon. They lost the top turret. They're losing pressure, and, this is well done here by Olay, stopping the Talia ultimate from coming in, stopping them from getting cut off. TL plays this fairly patiently, and then Khan, he split from Peanut, and that is the key thing. You need to have Kindred on top of the member who's being focused for that Lamb's respite. He is not in position to do so. They focus him down, they back off, they can grab the honey fruit, but the spears are in the Dragon and it's already Kingzone's.
The thing is for Team Liquid is after they'd used a lot of engage tools, they didn't feel confident enough for the re-engage, and then they'd never gotten mid-priority given that Kingzone zoned them away, and they do not want to give up this tower for free. So, we see another pick, and Mew, he's dead.
That could mean Baron. I actually think that Kingzone just goes straight to Baron, and you give up a Baron this early.
Right, yeah.
The gold lead is probably too big. It's probably too hard to surmount, and this honestly,
that's going down fast.
Could be the killing blow there for Kingzone.
It absolutely can. All the Ren stacks, the smites and everything. Kingzone, 8k gold up, 2 Mountain Drakes. Despite the fact Team Liquid got a couple of kills, they lost a tower, a Dragon, and now Baron.
And I mean, you just can't afford to have those mistakes against this team. They're so good at punishing you. Double Lift gets caught. That means Baron. That means split push enabled. And here it is again.
Now we see, that was just the flash coming in from Khan, tied up with the ultimate and the Gorilla ulti too. So all you're trying to do is farm, man. You just want to push out the mid lane. You just want to go back to base. You're not expecting a Camille to have that kind of a range, but when she comes out and jumps half a lane and then flashes on top of it, Double Lift had no options, and he didn't even have time to flash.
Yeah, and I mean, when you don't have vision, that's the game state, right? You can't be up that far unless you are with a 4 or 5-man squad. Unless you can take any fight that could potentially be there, you don't get to have that space on the map, and they get punished so heavily for it.
And I want to use this opportunity to just praise BDD for his performance on the Talia. This guy was the 2-time MVP of the LCK. That is quite the accolade considering the accomplishments that region as a whole have achieved throughout the world, and the fact that he's come into this tournament and often hasn't really been the spotlight. When he picks a comfort pick like Talia, the amount of pressure he generated in the early game, his use of the walls so far in this game, I feel like he's been very impactful and has really stuck to the style that got him that MVP.
Yeah, Kingzone is really just pulling Team Liquid apart, but for TL, there is still a chance. They do still have very good scaling, and there's a lot of squishy members on Kingzone. So if you can find the perfect engage, if you can find the Ornn ultimate and burst someone down very quickly, the gold lead starts to matter less. But that's depending on mistakes from Kingzone.
And whether or not Kingzone can somehow be interrupted in the split push. But with Baron, look at this. As Team Liquid are defending the bottom half, BDD is pushing that top lane, and more towers are falling. It's so far 4 in favor of Kingzone, and this will be the 5th very shortly.
Kingzone looking extremely good once again. They're going for a pick on the Prey.
They are indeed. Call of the Forge Guard will fall just short, and here comes Gorilla. The Abyssal Voyage gets him in to save the day and scoop up Prey. Team Liquid running for their lives, despite really trying to get the kill.
Such good use of the ultis there from BDD and Gorilla. The fact that the Tahm Kench was there to take his AD carry to safety, and BDD denied any further follow-up, along with them getting a tower in the top lane. Team Liquid, they're trying. They really are trying, but Kingzone do not give them the chance.
They will not. Khan waiting in the wings. There's no Forge Guard to defend, remember, so Kingzone instantly group up. With limited engage tools, they're going to force the matter. 45 seconds left on Baron. The 6th tower falls. No outer turrets remaining for the North American champions.
Yeah, and they are just down so much, but that is the kind of play which can buy you time and get you back into the game. So TL does still need to be able to have the confidence that you find someone, you engage, you get them, because that is how you dismantle these split push teams. When you can get a pick, you can then push, you can force people to group, and you can find those team fights perhaps around objectives. But Prey gets out. This is a very slippery team.
It is indeed, and of course, with the 9,000 gold lead. Kingzone looking likely to pick up the win. The two things that will happen, it will give them sole control of second seed for now. Also will guarantee Flash Wolves a spot in the semifinals and a trip to Paris to see how far their run can go.
And for Team Liquid, you know, talking about the standings, falling to 1 and 5 puts you in such a tough position. I mean, the bare minimum, there's already 4th place is 3 wins, right? And you are behind those teams 2 games already with, you know, only 4 games to play after this. So that becomes a very difficult gap to make up. And when push comes to shove, you need to step up in these difficult situations if they want to have a chance of making out of groups.
And you also think, oh, well, even if they do get those wins and you're able to close the gap, you do not have the tiebreaker head-to-head record over many other teams. So you're forced into that situation where you probably have to play even more games. So the path ahead for Liquid is definitely a difficult one, but we've seen it from Fnatic at Worlds. Perhaps this is Team Liquid's opportunity to shine.
Ever the optimist, you're not out until the standings say that you are. So we'll see how long that will take. By the way, Mountain Drake is going to pull Team Liquid's attention because they don't want to give a third one over. While that's happening, BDD will pull Team Liquid back to the base. I think that was a realm move that was used by Pobelter, managing to deliver 3 members to the top lane. But this just allows Dragon to be picked up, and it just leans into that playstyle. Kingzone will not allow Team Liquid to get a team fight that they need and want.
And this is the beauty of split pushing and the LCK, because the thing about split pushing is one of the harder compositions to execute because it requires, number one, you get
maybe caught out.
This fight.
It is indeed. Xmithie forced to flash defensively. Cards coming in from behind. Follow Pobelter and Doublelift. Doublelift's going to get caught in with the Hextech ultimatum. Ole goes down. Doublelift follows. Nobody from Kingzone dies. A flash over the wall from Gorilla. And it's going to be a kill onto Impact with the Devour. In fact, secured by Prey. 3 members of Team Liquid down.
Just as I'm about to praise Kingzone for their ability to split push, they group up, they find a fantastic fight. A good flank from Khan enables a huge team fight win, and Kingzone are going to crack the base of Liquid.
Just a master class in League of Legends. Kingzone from minute 1 were playing in Team Liquid's face, and now they're looking for the base. That's the inhibitor turret. After there's a trade of kills, Prey has gone down. In the end, Xmithie will fall as well as Pobelter. The inhibitor turret, the inhibitor as well. 12,000 gold up. The base, maybe the back of Team Liquid is now broken.
It's a monumental lead, and Baron going to be up in a minute. Xmithie just trying to farm his jungle here, but getting caught pretty far up, and this is such a disorganized team fight for Team Liquid. Xmithie essentially chunked out before it starts. Ole taking so much damage. Pobelter is not there, and Khan comes in with the flank onto Doublelift. So while this is, you know, a team fighting team here for Doublelift, you need to be organized as a 5-man squad. Kingzone is going to thrive in these messy fights where they can come at you from multiple angles, and they are just doing it so well. They play the map incredibly.
And now the Baron is about to spawn. Kingzone's next objective is very clearly, we set up the vision, we look to take it, and we look to end the game. And if Team Liquid are going to have a hope in hell of coming back into this game, it will be on the Xmithie steal.
Yeah.
Can he Xmithie? Do you believe, Azael?
I unfortunately do not believe because he has no flash, and because Kingzone has such control over the map, I think it becomes so incredibly difficult for him to even get close, right? You know, when you look at the vision here for Team Liquid, there's very little out in their jungle. They have to move forward as this 5-man squad probably, which opens up for Khan to be pushing on the bottom side, and it's a very scary world out here for Team Liquid, walking in the darkness.
Yeah, it really is. Wards go down in that river bush. Khan has no flash available for him, so that engage from across the screen, limited for now. Also, no teleport. It is on cooldown. Baron is up, and Team Liquid, they're not yet done. They haven't conceded yet. They're pushing into the river, and they're trying to at least position to contest.
There's always the hope of a miracle fight. If you win that fight, if you get the Baron, you are back in his teal. They are going to try to make Kingzone come to them. They say split push be damned. We start the Baron. They can dictate the fight if they do that, but they're looking right now.
All right, Call of the Forge God comes out, despite the fact that Khan is caught up in the back end. That's a great pillar of ice. Gets caught with the Hextech ultimatum, but Doublelift is able to pick up the kill. Now it's a 5-on-4, but BDD is bursting Team Liquid down. Even in a 4-on-5, Kingzone with a huge gold lead, seem to be winning.
Team Liquid, they seem to be stuck between a rock and a hard place right now.
Impact doesn't go down despite the seismic shove. Team Liquid are still looking for some sort of engage, but they don't have any more tools. Their ultimates are on cooldown.
Yeah, they're corralled. They need to wait for their cooldowns to be back up once Doubles has his W, but Peanut is actually showing on the other side of the map, so this is a potential 5v3 if they can find the right fight, but it's so tough.
Oh, look at that shove again. Impact is so low. Gets the shield from the Bellows Breath.
Peanut will take the base.
He has already taken the tower. The inhibitor's going to be next. All Kingzone are doing are buy time.
This could actually be the game if they keep getting delayed here. Peanut could just continue to push, and finally they're going to get some people back to base, but that means Pobelter's probably going down.
Definitely goes down there as Zale. All right, Double Lift was able to complete the recall. He can defend for now, but the top inhibitor falls.
Oh no, Team Liquid, they're falling apart right now. Kingzone, they're going for more kills.
Oh, another perfect seismic shove. BDD has consistently landed those spells. 6, 0, and 4. The kill will be secured. That makes it 7 for a godlike.
Just so well handled there by Kingzone. In this tough situation, they lose their top laner right off the bat, but BDD kiting back and forth, putting out so much damage. This is absurdly fed on this Talia, and Team Liquid just can't get close without the ultimate from Ornn being available. That was still on cooldown. The Braum ultimate was still on cooldown. They couldn't find the engage, and without that hard engage, they get kited around. They lose their base. They lose everything.
And here, you can see, this is after the initial pick came out from Team Liquid, and they just want to go back to base. They want to defend the losing remnants of what is remaining, and they just cannot. The poke from Kingzone and the fact that they're constantly on the chase means that Team Liquid gets slowly picked off throughout Kingzone's jungle.
And that means it's a free Baron as well for Kingzone. That's 2 inhibitors down. That is such a hard position to ever really climb back in. You know, not to mention a 15,000 gold lead, monumental item advantage.
It is gigantic. Peanut, by the way, he's up to 8 stacks on his passive. Got a rapid fire cannon to boot, so even further range, more tools to deal with. Ornn doesn't care for the Weaver's wall. Gives it a gentle headbutt and knocks that one down. But look, Supers are now on the steps of Team Liquid's base. BDD is almost single-handedly winning these team fights. To be fair, anybody on Kingzone could do it with the amount of damage they have. The third inhibitor falls.
Now we see Impact and Pobelter healing back up. They have to engage now. This is their last hope.
Kingzone looking to shut down Team Liquid, and here they go.
All right, let's see how this goes. Call of the Forge God goes completely the wrong direction. That's not what you want to see. The Glacial Fissure comes down, and Team Liquid are routed. They're running away for their lives. The Hextech ultimatum locks Impact in place, and the kill is not yet secured. The Nexus falls. Kingzone have sole control of second.
And a very dominant game overall from Kingzone. They drafted a comp where they needed an early game lead, and they found it. An immaculately executed dive down in the bottom lane very early on, and after that, it felt like that all Team Liquid could do was just play on the back foot, try to defend, and in that kind of a scenario, Kingzone thrived.
Yeah, once you get behind against Kingzone, that dive was perfect. That gave them enough of a lead, enough of an advantage that they are dictating the tempo, they are pushing the pace on the map, and all that Liquid can do from that point is hope for a miracle engage, hope for a mistake from Kingzone, and Kingzone never gave it to them.
And this is why Kingzone were considered the favorites coming into the tournament. If they had played like this every single game, which is what many analysts were expecting, they would likely be sitting at the top of the table. But through slight differences, through teams finding opportunities to shut down this bot lane, to not allow the Praying Gorilla to get that early start, and to kind of keep Peanut in control, they have been able to find wins. And unfortunately, Team Liquid, they could not control the jungler. They could not stop this bottom lane, and BDD was unleashed.
Couldn't stop anybody on the Kingzone squad. The entire team played exceptionally well, and that tower dive, that's what gives me shivers when I think about the rest of the tournament.